Hello and welcome everyone to round number 4 here at League of Europe for the British Grand Prix, coming to you from obviously the Silverstone circuit, one of the most known circuits on this League of Europe Season 6 calendar. It's going to be the 4th race of 17 here for these Division 4 drivers. Going to be taking you through this one. Unfortunately, once again, it's going to be only myself, QVR Packer, in the commentary booth here tonight, but hopefully we can get some more people in here eventually. Looking at the standings as we go into this one, as we're just about to ready up. Full grid here. As we actually have another spectator. We have Mark. Let me get Mark in the party. Very, very quickly. See if he'll join. All right, while we wait for Mark to join, we can, the drivers are beginning to ready up and we can get ourselves into this one. But looking at this race, as we are about to head into short qualifying, as Mark does join the party. Sorry about that one, I didn't realize, but yes. Anyways, we're here. So Mark is also here. How's it going, Mark?
I'm good. This was a bit of a late call up. Obviously, I normally would be here, but I wasn't expecting to do much in the way of comms tonight. But Nolan obviously couldn't make it, so yeah, I'm not going to be much use in regards to strategy advice. I've done 15 minutes TT practice all week, and I haven't really touched the new model of the game. So yeah, I'm just here for the vibes.
Well, I can tell you the update that they did or whatever earlier this week did absolutely nothing, by the way. So it doesn't feel any different to me anyways. So, yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a difference in terms of pace for these guys. So heading into this one, obviously Division 4, any standout favorites? The only ones I can really think of are Ryan B and Maverick.
Yeah, I mean they're the safe bets, right? But Ryan B is very good in the wet, which is not a problem by the looks of it in quali anyway. But yeah, I would probably say this track's gonna potentially favour some of the guys that are just behind them. Giant Bravery, he's been an interesting addition to the league. I feel like Energetics might do a lot better than other weeks. This isn't so bad for no ABS and no line, is my understanding anyway. I'm obviously no expert on that side, but yeah, I could see them doing okay. And just wondering if Mr. Ivor Bryn Mike is going to turn up. This is one of the tracks he seems to go okay at, actually. He did EML, I think, here, and he didn't embarrass himself at all in quite a difficult qualification field. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I just feel like if it's dry, I don't think Ryan has the outright pace. I don't think he's the quickest in the division, but I think he's still one of the title favourites.
Yeah, Alt Maverick is not clear, but he's definitely up at the front of the field. Obviously, he's only done 2 races and he won both of those, Bahrain and Spain. As you mentioned, Giant Bravery can be good in the wet. He took second place at USA, and that race, obviously, as we know, was completely drenched. Energetics took second place last time out in Spain after that chaotic Grand Prix. But yeah, we can run through the standings very, very quickly as Cam K is out on track, just heading down towards Cops on his out lap. Ryan B leads the championship on 58 points from Alt Maverick on 50, and then it's a big gap to Major Falcon on 27, followed closely by Ariel Jordan on 26, Cam K on 25, Giant Bravery and Energetics tied on 19, Mr. Wouter on 16, Storm on 15, MCR on 13, Slumcon, or Connor, as he wants to be called, on 11, Alex on 10, as well as Slayer and Poldypoles all on 10, Dirtim and McDutchface tied on 7, and then Ivor and Mike, the last of the point scorers, on 6 points. Bag of Bones, Marty, TRT, James, the full-time drivers yet to score. But yeah, Cam K is about to come into the Vale chicane. He's going to get this qualifying session kicked off.
Yeah, he's another one that can go quick. I think Eduk as well, potentially. I know he's having a bit of a downturn in form, but there's a lot of people. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, trains are never always necessarily a problem in the lower divisions, but it will be interesting to see. And Camk is keeping it nice and clean, I feel like, through going off broadcast camera. I'm going to ride on board on TV pod just to see what these guys can do. But yeah, I would say this is a tidy start from the lap from Camk.
Yeah, it's already looking pretty nice for Sector 27-2. I'm sure it'll be going a little bit faster later on in the session as the track begins to ramp up a little bit wide through Brooklands and then trying to get that wide line through Luffield to get the traction, get the run out of that very tight right-hander. So very difficult to get that one right through Woodcut and on to the National Pit Straight as we head towards Cobbs over the old start-finish line. 8th gear, a little bit of a lift as he heads in the Cobbs there, just a little bit of a safety lift to make sure you don't die on the exit of that corner. Now into the famous Maggots and Beckett's section through the left-hander down to 7th and off through the right-hander down to 5th gear to get that rotation now through Chapel. Very difficult. It can be very easy to go onto the grass there on the exit, but opens up the DRS across the middle sector. It's a 1 minute 2.6, so not entirely where he wants it to be. And now through Stowe, looks nice. It's very difficult to get the final sector hooked up. Stowe, you can't understeer quite wide, and it's very difficult to keep it on track there and through the Vale chicane. You have to be so very aggressive just to keep that time up. It's a 26 flat to kick off this session, so not too bad, but I'm sure it'll be going a little bit faster. His teammate has taken a little bit of a slide through Maggots and Beckett's.
Yeah, as Maverick comes over the line, what can he do? Pretty slow. There must have been a mistake in there, you feel?
Yeah, 6/10 off, that's not exactly where he was wanted, especially for one of the main championship contenders. Maybe not exactly the track that he's great at, but obviously 6/10 off is not where you want to be. MCR has replaced him on the front row. Only a 10th back as Eduk heads through the final chicane and across the line on a 1:26.193. So no one into the 25s quite yet. There's Red Bull about to cross the line. I want to say that's McDutchface, but I think it's actually going to be Slayer starting a lap. And then there's an Alfa Romeo, I think, who just started a lap as well. And the other Alfa Romeo is invalid. So let's get on board with, I think that is the Williams of Giant Bravery coming across the line. 26.1, so it's already getting quite a bit close, but I think a little bit slower than I would have expected, if I'm going to be honest.
Good by me. They're not much slower than me, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, it's going to be. This might indicate there is going to be trains. You know, this even I think this is one of the few tracks I would say D4 and D5 will have a train element to. Sometimes it does get a bit broken up down here. Oh, a Slayer is round through Cops and in a Red Bull as well.
Yeah.
So he manages to pirouette that nicely. No damage, no anything as he's kind of got in the way there a bit of Storm, but Storm wasn't on a lap, so got away with that.
Yeah, fortunate there for him. Cup's so very difficult to get right and to gain time through there. There's not much time to be gained at Cops, but especially up in the higher divisions. It's only a few hundredths, but that few hundredths can mean quite a lot. Energetics about to cross the line on the mediums, actually. I can pull up the tire graphic real quick. Mr. Water and the Aston Martin, the only other driver out on the medium tires. Energetics just about to cross the line. Goes P8 on the 27.1 on the medium. So not the slowest driver, but definitely isn't one of the fastest quite yet. I think there's a Mercedes. I think that's going to be Jordan. He's going to be one of the last drivers to complete his first run through Stowe. Looked pretty neat. Heading into the final chicane. Avoids that curb on the inside for the left-hander and on the right-hander as well. Now through the final corner, let's see what it's going to be for the Mercedes. 26.5, so it goes out to P6 and now sharing that third row with his teammate with 11:40 left.
Yeah, it's fully dry, by the way. No chance of rain by the sounds of it in the race, which I don't actually mind this track being dry. I think the trains do kind of make it exciting and quite tactical. So it's one of the tracks where if there is some rain, it can be entertaining, but I feel like this could actually help the spectacle around it because it's so hard to overtake otherwise with no DRS.
Yeah, especially. But in my practice, in my experience so far throughout the week, it seems that it's very easy to save ERS, and its DRS is also very powerful. So it's going to be I don't want to say easy to get moves done, especially up at the front of the train, but the drivers who are in behind or right at the back of the train is going to be almost impossible to make overtakes, I would have to imagine, because everyone's going to have that huge advantage, except for the guy up at the front. Storm heading through the Vale Chicane now is double purple so far. 27-1 in the first sector, and didn't quite catch what it was in the middle sector split, but crossing the line, let's see what it's going to be. 26 flat, and goes up onto the second row of the grid, so not the third sector I'm sure you would have been hoping for, but still front row and only 200 off provisional pole.
Yeah, that looked really tentative through the last couple of corners. I think that was his first lap, and if that is, that's actually quite dangerous, because you only just about get 3 laps around it. You can't really hang around too much.
Yeah, it's very, well, yeah, since it is quite a long track in terms of time. 1:26 is current provisional pole, and then with outlap and in lap, it's not difficult to get 3 laps in, but it's going to be impossible to do 4 if you are going to do 4 and maybe mess up one. So, yeah, especially with only 3 tire sets anyways. I'm surprised more people haven't been going out on the mediums for their first run. Just to save that set of soft tires if you are going to be outside the top 10, will help on the alternate strategy. So, yeah, I think Iverburn Mike is the next driver to cross the line, currently heading across the National Pit Straight. So, yeah, Ivor hasn't had the most amazing start to his season, actually, as he invalidates and spins. So, yeah, let's get on to the next driver, which I think is going to be an Alfa Romeo who almost hits Iverburn Mike on the outside of Copse there. So, yeah, the stewards are looking at Copse there at the exit of turn 9. So, if you are unable to keep your at least one tire in contact with the curb there, you will either be picking up a qualifying ban or a 5-second time penalty in the race for every offense, unless obviously you back off your lap or lift off and lose some time there. But the stewards will be looking at that, so just be wary of that if you do see that in the race, and hopefully make sure to maybe report it, unless it's me or Mark, of course. But anyways, Dirt Tip about to heading into the final chicane just now.
Yeah, it's good that he's going to get a lap on the board. He'll feel like he needs that, because it means he can attack his third one, even though it's going to be pretty slow, but it's something.
Yeah, it's always better to get a lap on the board, even if it is a slow one. If you have that delta, for me at least, it always makes you go a little bit faster, because you kind of know where you're going to end up. I think Ferrari just starting a lap there. Red Bull, pulls us off on the wall at turn 2, just spinning out of Abbey, or maybe caught the grass going through turn 2. I think an Aston Martin just crossed the line. I think that was Mr. Water just starting. Now there's an Alpine MCR currently third on the grid. Let's see what he's going to improve to. 25.9. So first driver into the 1:25s. And Mercedes, actually both Mercedes are on outlaps just starting, is Ryan B, championship leader. But yeah, MCR first driver into the 1:25s. I'm not sure if that's a surprise or not, but yeah, he's now on provisional pole.
Yeah, Cam K actually said, "How am I still first?" And then he wasn't first. As Eduk is up. He is up, but he's really butchered the last sector.
Ooh.
And that cost him. That really cost him. I think he would have put that on pole.
Yeah, at least we know now who might be a contender there. Obviously, Eduk, as you mentioned, has time in his final sector, so we know who could be a contender. Alt Maverick improved up to 5th while we were watching on board with MCR. I think Giant Bravery crossed the line but backed off and invalidated his lap, and is actually invalidated again somehow. Ryan B and Ariel Jordan has actually completely butchered turn 3. As I said that, Mr. Wilder is just heading through Stowe. Marty is heading through the final chicane, so let's see what the second Ferrari driver, definitely the second Ferrari driver when it comes to championship standings, and goes up onto provisional pole position. So this is the qualifying pace that we expected from Marty. He was up at the front in Spain. I think it was actually a Ferrari 1-2 in Spain when it came to the grid. So Alt Maverick lacking just a little bit as he's heading back into the pit lane. But yeah, Marty is now up on to provisional pole position on 25.8. Iverburn Mike has predicted a mid-25 for provisional pole position, so we still have a little bit of track evolution, or a few more drivers yet to put in lap times, especially since we still have, once the yellow flag goes away, I think around 6 minutes left in qualifying.
Yeah, Ryan backed out of his lap. He was really over driving the car. I feel like the pressure is going to get quite intense now because the problem is that grid. You know, I feel like any of them are probably capable of improving their time by 3 or 4 attempts, and from Ryan upwards, that's pole. So they're all going to feel quite stretched, I feel. And Kamke, you know, even him, you know, he wasn't the best lap. I think he was surprised that he was on provisional pole for so long, but he's now down in 5th.
Yeah, especially on that first lap. It wasn't amazing from Kamke, but I guess it wasn't anything like notably bad about the lap. But yeah, right now P5, so not exactly, or not a pretty decent lap overall so far. Slayer up into P9 under 26.1. I think Storm is the next driver crossing the line. He's on a 27 flat now in the first sector, so really quick through that first sector. Purple once again. As he heads through Woodcote. But yeah, any other drivers that are really notable? Eduk, we haven't seen much from Eduk so far this season. Just looking at the championship standings as of right now. Hasn't scored a point. Raced in USA but did not score. He did finish the race though. So yeah, he's a reserve. He's now up into 3rd place in this qualifying session. So maybe Britain is a track that suits him. I remember from season 3, I believe, of League of Europe. He was moved up to Division 2 and had a really strong race here at Silverstone. So, yeah, possibly one of those tracks that he's really, really good at, really comfortable at. So up in that P3, showing already for him. Storm about to cross the line. Let's see what he can do. And it's provisional pole position, 25.695 for Storm. So as you were watching on board, he seems to have put in the lap time. He's not provisional pole by a good margin as well.
I was following the lap. He was pretty much just ahead of Marty going into Sector 3, and he found basically a near enough just over a 10th in that last sector, so he's clutched that. I think that's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, I think it's going to be just over a 10th and a half. Marty would have to find to get him, or to regain that provisional pole position, and for MCR it'd be 2.5 tenths. So it's going to be very difficult to match that lap time. Let's see what Iverbryn Mike can do, though. I think he's the next driver about to start a lap as we head into the 3rd runs for all of these guys. Still quite a few drivers in the pit lane as of right now. Giant Bravery, Ariel, Jordan, Dirtim, Iverbryn Mike, Poldy Poles, and TRT James are all out on track. I think an Alpine, I want to say, just left the pit lane. That is MCR going for his final run. But Iverbryn Mike now heading through the first corner. Let's see what he can do on this lap. Currently P17 with no lap time quite yet.
Yeah, I feel like you can probably get away with using one set of the softs twice, because tyre wear isn't, actually saying that, I don't really know strategy, but it's never been a problem here at Silverstone, so I feel like some people could potentially save a set, or just try and do 2 runs on these soft tyres. That's what I'd be doing if I hadn't got a time on the board. If I was 15th down, I'd definitely be considering trying to get 2 laps, which I think maybe is the reason why someone like Ivor has gone out so early, just in case he invalidates this lap. He's done a lot better than he has done before. As Storm retires, he's done.
Yeah,
Ivor, can he keep it clean? He's kept it really nice through there, actually. He's a bit tentative, but he gets on the power. He's kind of made up for that. This is okay, actually. This could be... Well, it is going to be an improvement, but I'm not entirely sure where it's going to put him. I think about a 0.3 he's on for or so.
Something like that, I'd have to imagine. There's a 102.6 through the middle sector. That's what Kamke was on his first lap. So it's going to be into the 25s, I would imagine, with a good final sector. Ooh, 26 flat. So that's a good lap there for Ivor, I have to say.
He's clutched that. He's done well, because it's easy. Ooh, someone is round. Ooh, Lundair Tim is in the wall. He's hanging around in the wall. Yeah, and he gets away with it. Yeah, it's going to get busy now.
Yeah, almost everybody out on track, obviously, besides Storm and Major Falcon, who's not gone out quite yet. There's an Aston Martin just about to start. That's Mr. Welter. I think there's a Williams. That might be Giant Bravery just about to cross the line. He was 4 tenths up, heading through the middle sector, split 3 tenths up on Ivor, and it's front row for Giant Bravery, 125.9, but still not close enough to challenge Storm. There's a 10th in between those 2 drivers. I think there's Red Bull. McDutchface just about to start. There's a Ferrari. I think that's going to be Alt Maverick starting, and there's a Mercedes, which might be Jordan, who's actually backed off of his current lap. Ryan B just starting another one as well. That's Slayer starting as well. There's a lot of drivers starting a lap, let's just say that. Drivers on laps, Mr. Walter heading through Luffield. MCR is actually heading into Stowe, but is invalid, unfortunately. So he's not going to be able to improve on that one. McDutchface just heading through turn 5. Ryan B is heading through turn 4. Alt Maverick just exiting the the first sector as well. Is there anyone who's the closest person to the line? Would you have to say, Mark?
I'm trying to work it out myself. If I'm honest, I'm having a look here. It's looking to me like it could be.
I want to say McDutchface.
Potentially, was it Polizitin? No, was it Londertin? No, he's.
I think it's McDutchface. I would have to say. So yeah, riding on board with McDutchface. 26.5 currently for him. A little bit tentative there through Mackets and Beckett. We'll see what the middle sector split is. A 102.7. He's 3.5 tenths up currently on his lap, so that would put him onto a 26.2. I think someone just improved. That was Mr. Wilder up into P4. Sorry that we missed that one, but yeah. McDutchface heading through the final sector now. He's a little bit of time to make up, I would imagine, in this final sector as he saved it for the last run. A little bit of a lock up there into the final chicane, all over the curbs on the exit. Giant Bravery is retired from the session. That's his qualifying over, but McDutchface up into P8 at 26 flat. That's a decent improvement for him. One of the Ferraris. It's going to be Alt Maverick, second in the championship, 2 wins in a row. Improves by a tenth of a second, replaces him, McDutchface in P8. But Ryan B, championship leader, he's up into P3, and the next driver into the 1 minute 25s on a .833. He finds himself on the second row. Let's see what Marty can do. He's up by a tenth in the through the middle sector. Not pole. He lost quite a bit of time there through that final sector. He lost just around a tenth, so it's only going to be P3 for him. One of the Hasses, I think that's going. I'm not entirely sure that was. That must have been Educ. There's a 25.993, unless he did the same exact time or he invalidated. Cam K though. P11 currently rose by 4 tenths of a second and finds provisional pole position by 0.03 of a second. That's a good lap there from Cam K, and finally showing some of that pace that we know he has. Major Falcon heading through Stowe now. I think he's going to be the last driver to finish his lap. Heading into the Vale chicane. Let's see what he can do. Really nice, kind of getting the exit though. Through the penultimate corner and through the final corner across the line. 25.9 for him, improves by 0.2 of a second and finds himself on the same row as his teammate. But that is going to be qualifying over, I think, and it's going to be Cam K. Set the fastest lap up right at the beginning of the session and now has the fastest lap right at the end as well.
I think that might have been a bit of an error from Major Falcon. I think I'd have rather been in 12th than 7th, personally. But, yeah, we're going to see. This track is so safety car dependent, isn't it? Like, it depends on when it comes out. If it comes out early, that media, that whole strategy is basically ruined. But if it comes out after the soft runners have stopped, then that's the normal kind of meta strategy is ruined. So there's a bit of a lottery to this track. So don't count out anybody realistically that's in the bottom half, because they can still turn it around with some fortuitous circumstances and also obviously some good driving.
Just looking towards the chat, Kim King saying, let's bleeping go. He's obviously happy with that one. And once again, Americans doing good in D4. So, I'm happy with that one as well. But just to run you through the qualifying results just now, Cam K is going to be on provisional pole, and Storm was told to go away from a provisional pole position at his home track. He's going to be starting second alongside Cam K. Giant Bravery in P3, followed by Marty, Ryan B, Mr. Walter, Major Falcon, MCR, Educ, and Iverburn Mike at the top of 10. So just barely inside the top 10, there is Ivor. But Alt Maverick, second place in the championship, trying to close down Ryan B. He's going to be starting P11 on that alternate strategy. McDutchface, Slayer, Jordan, Alex, Energetics, Dirt Tim, Slimcon, Poles, and TRT James round out the qualifiers. Connor, Poles, and James not able to set lap times, and Energetics, his fastest lap time was on the medium compound of tires. So it's going to be a dry race here in Division 4, but who are you looking at right now for a decent result?
I would guess it would be the front row guys are gonna definitely. I feel like you can't look past them, but being in that 11th spot, I'll be completely honest, my game just ejected randomly and kicked me out of the session. So I can't remember who's 11th off the top of my head.
It's Alt Maverick.
Oh wow! Well there you go. I mean, you can't look past. If you can get through lap 1 or 2 clean, there's going to be a good chance he's going to do well. So let me try and get back in this session. I have no idea why that happened. That doesn't fill me with massive confidence that the game just completely and utterly ejected from my PlayStation for no apparent reason. But yeah, we're back. I'm back in. I'm joining the lobby. So hopefully it doesn't put me on the grid or something crazy. You never know with this.
Yeah, well, we do have 20 drivers, so hopefully that won't be an issue. But oh my god. All right. D1 has gone interesting for 2 QVR drivers. But yeah, anyways, Cam K will lead us away, but we can get the tires up on the screen for you guys. So outside of the top 10, it is soft, medium, soft, medium, which is interesting, to say the least.
Oh. Yeah, I might need another invite potentially. I'm gonna.
Let me see. I might be able to invite you. All right. Send him 2 invites very quickly. But yes, here we go. So, Cam K will lead us away. It's an interesting choice for Alt Maverick, McDutchface, Slayer, Jordan, Energetics, Tims, and Connor, all to go onto those soft compound tires. Only Alex, Poldypulse, and James are the ones going to be on the medium tires. The only one braving it out, if you will. So yeah. Ooh. Yeah, that didn't go too well. Yeah. So yeah, Cam K is going to be on provisional pole position. We can look at his current results so far in the season. 5th in the championship on 25 points. He's had 2 5th places at Bahrain and Spain, and then 5 points in USA when he could have had a really good result, but a few mistakes, a few incidents really took those points away from him. So he could be a little bit higher if he was able to stay out of those incidents and not make those mistakes. But yeah, I think that's what every driver really needs, is not to make mistakes, especially in my season. Hasn't gone exactly to plan for these first 3 races, but Cam K looking to make up for it right now. On pole position, he has the best starting place going into turn 1. Actually, I think Cam K started on pole, if I'm not mistaken, in USA, and then picked up a drive-through penalty. So let's see what's going to happen. Let's see what's going to happen here for Cam K. Going down into turn 1 at the beginning of this race. TRT James is going to be the last driver to slot into his grid slot. But Cam K will go into P1, followed by Storm, Giant Bravery, Marty, Ryan B, Mr. Wouter, Major Falcon, MCR, E-Duck, Iverburn Mike, Alt Maverick, Mike, Dutchface, Slayer, Jordan, Alex, Energetics, Dirt Team, Connor, Poldypulse, and James, as everyone gets into their grid slots, but now just waiting for the 5 lights. And here they come. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. Long hold, but we are away for the British Grand Prix here. Round number 4 for Season 6 of Division 4. It looks like Mr. Wouter has not had the greatest of starts on the inside there, but it's going to be Cam K who leads into turn 1. A few drivers out wide, but Storm is going to be following him through, as well as Giant Braver and Marty. Major Falcon has a little bit of a slide as Ryan B's around the outside of Marty. Going into turn 3, the Mercedes driver is going to have to back out of that one, and he's going to slot into P5. Let's see what's going to happen back further down the field. A lot of drivers side by side. There's an Alfa Romeo really wide there. I think that might have been Energetics, but Alt Maverick trying to find his way through. We have a Haas who spun. I think that's TRT James. There's Red Bull going very defensive there, going towards Brooklyn's at Slayer and Energetics going to the inside line. Iverburn Mike is a little bit wide in P11, and Alt Maverick has already made his way up to P9. A little bit of contact between him and E-Duck, though, and the Ferrari driver will go out a little bit wide, but the Haas is going to have to concede for the time being. Alt Maverick has the run going down towards Cops, and he's going to be up into P9 from P11 there. I'm not sure if he's on fresh soft tires, but it's definitely looking pretty good for him as well. Marty already a little bit wide going through Cops here on lap number 1, but Cam K has jumped out to the front of the race and is already leaving by 7.5 tenths. He has to try and break that DRS range if he can right at the beginning of the race. So Storm and Giant Bravery and Marty and all these other drivers can't chase him down, but Giant Bravery now trying to use his ERS Going down towards Stowe. Let's see what he's going to be able to do here on lap 1 on the inside of Storm. Going into Stowe, and he's going to have that move done quite easily as Storm just slots in behind, and Giant Bravery is not going to be the driver trying to close down on Cam K. I'm not sure if you're back in the lobby quite yet, Mark. As Alt Maverick and Eduk going side by side once again. Eduk goes a little bit wide. Everybody Mike has to back out of it for now as Alt Maverick is up into P9. As there's a Red Bull and I think that's the McLaren. There's McDudface and Ivorbird Mike. McDudface was looking to go up the inside of Ivorbird Mike, but not exactly. That isn't going to quite happen quite yet. Marty, or never mind. Doesn't say Marty's up at the front. Who is leading? Cam K is leading this race and has a pretty decent gap to Giant Bravery. He has to keep pushing though. He's already used almost 50% of his battery storage, and it says Giant Bravery's deploy is fully used already as we head through left field, but I don't think that is entirely correct. But Storm trying to follow these guys through as well as Marty, Ryan B, Major Falcon, Mr. Wouter. Storm did. Oh, that's Marty off, and he's completely broken his front wing. Off at left field, very difficult traction zone there. It's very challenging to get the traction off of that one correct, especially on high fuel on worn tires. So that's going to be Marty off, and I think that might just leave a little bit of a gap in the train, but I think these drivers have started to fill in to that as we have another spinner. That's Dirts him out, fully out of the race, out of cops. He's hit the wall, and there's a VSC. As well as TRT James is out of spin.
Yeah, I caught that. Marty with a broken wing, just trying to get round the corner. James going full tilt. Didn't realise how slow Marty would be. And then lost the back end in a bit of a panic. So it'd be interesting to see, will anyone pit?
I wouldn't imagine. Well, depends on what setup they're running and the strategy is soft medium, but it depends on what setup you're running, especially the tire temperatures and the suspension, the geometry, all plays into tire wear. I think Marty will be into the pit lane. James might be into the pit lane as well, but I don't think he actually has any damage. I think he's just spun. But yeah, it's looking like these drivers are going pretty. Well, the drivers at the back of the train were pretty much on it. So VSC should be ending quite soon, I would imagine. Marty just into the pit lane. I would imagine, be a front wing in either mediums or hards. It's going to be hards to the end of the race for Marty there, unless there is another safety car in which he can pit. But I would say from around lap 5, you could probably make the mediums work to the end. But I think the sweet spot for pit lap is around lap 9 or 10.
Yeah. How long is this VSC, by the way?
I have no idea. I think VSC came out. Yeah, VSC came out around when Cam K was heading through Chapel, and ends right when he's on the National Pit Straight. I've noticed on this game, the VSCs take quite a bit longer to go away. So that can catch out a few drivers, I would imagine. But yeah, Cam K up at the front of this race. Storm didn't have the greatest of first laps and let Giant Bravery through at Stowe on that first lap, but Giant Bravery has closed down that gap and has got it back down to under 7 tenths of a second, so doing pretty well already. Ryan B, though, seems to be dropping off just a little bit. Obviously not on the timing delta because he's not a minute and 40 seconds behind, but you can see just visibly that gap is either over a second or just around a second.
Yeah, he's going to struggle, because now he heads up that train, and now Major Falcon and Mr. Vuta will want to get past him as quick as he can. He needs to get within that DRS zone, or he's going to just get isolated, and then the guys behind him are going to pounce. But I'm so surprised that not many people have done the reverse strat here.
Yeah, it's interesting that only 3 drivers went on to mediums up right at the beginning of the race, and right now they're 18th, 17th, and 15th, and so yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's happening here, but it's going to be a pretty boring race in terms of strategy unless we get a safety car later on in this one around a pit window. But Alt Maverick trying to follow MCR, or trying to make his way past MCR. He really needs to make his way through the field because he's going to have, I don't know if he's going to have fresh or soft tires if he didn't do any qualifying laps on his current set, but they're all going to be very equal, I would imagine, in terms of tire wear and in terms of pace, unless someone has a clear pace advantage in the race. And as we were talking about Ryan B a little bit earlier on, that gap is now 1.6 seconds. The top 3 are going to just run away. It's going to be impossible for Ryan B to even follow them.
If I'm Maverick here, I would probably be thinking about doing a very, very early pit stop. He's getting really stuck behind MCR now, and he has got some very good pace. If he wants to get a podium, as he can get past, because he missed DRS, so that's going to be an easy pass for him. And now he needs to try and get onto the back of Mr. Vuta very quick because he's dropped out of his DRS.
Yeah, but you can see how powerful DRS was. MCR barely missed out on DRS, and Eduk and Alt Maverick were able to fly past him. So not having that getting DRS is going to be the #1 priority for almost all of these drivers. As Connor's into the pit lane, I'm not sure if that's for damage or just for an early pit stop, trying to make his way back up into this Grand Prix. But yeah, Alt Maverick, he needs to use his ERS. It's very easy to save ERS, especially through this first section of the circuit. But I think he was just within Mr. Wouter's gap. Yes, he was. So he's going to have DRS going down towards Brooklyn. So he has to try and stabilize and stay in this gap, as we have another yellow flag. It's a Red Bull around. That's Slayer down towards 16th and having a spin on those soft tires. He's going to be having even more. He's going to be having even more struggles now going further on into this race. Yeah, but yeah, Alt Maverick. He was lucky that MCR lost DRS, because now he's able to make that pass very easily and very cleanly. But another driver who is maybe just breaking away, Camke, he's down to 30% ERS, but he's almost gotten that gap he's almost gotten that gap to a second. I think he's actually broken DRS to Giant Bravery here. So it's going to be interesting to see it, because now Storm, even though he's not really close enough, could possibly make a move if this keeps becoming a trend.
Yeah, 100%. He has technically broken it, but he's gone back in that window. Big moment actually for this race. Oh, Giant Bravery runs really wide there. Major Falcon now all over the back of Ryan. Ryan is now becoming the cork in the bottle for this second phase, and I'm surprised no one's been aggressive on the pit stop so far.
Yeah, maybe they don't think they can quite make it on those medium compounded tires, but yeah, as we mentioned, MCR. Struggling to stick with these guys. His race pace isn't exactly where I'm sure he would want it to be. He has an 8/10 gap back to Ivory Mike, so he's not going to be challenging for a little bit now. But MCR is he's over a second. He's lost DRS to the guys in front of him, so he's really struggling on those soft tires. Maybe once he pits onto the mediums, he'll be a little bit quicker. But I would have expected him to either be in on this lap or the next one, just because he is struggling so much on that softer compound. Alt Maverick a little bit wide through Booklands there. Major Falcon trying to get a good exit off of Luffield to try and have an easier attempt at overtaking Ryan B. But the three drivers up at the front, Storm 9/10 of a second back. Giant Bravery used a little bit of ERS to get back closer to Camke, but Camke was using ERS as well, and now the gap is only 6/10 of a second, but they have gapped Storm and Ryan B now.
Oh, we have a yellow. I think that's DRT James again. I mean, one thing that I'm thinking of here is Ivo's closing right onto the back of MCR, and this should be a fairly easy pass if we can keep it clean. One thing I'm thinking is, if I am a Jordan of a Dutch face, a Slayer even potentially, that kind of field, you're going to get 1 or 2 points from this race as it stands. You're going to have the medium runners on your back. Why not just go long and hope for a safety car, hope for a tap in, and you can end up going in and coming out in first place potentially. I was wondering if we're going to see anyone try and go super long to Golhan for an SC, but they're quite hard to find around here by the looks of it.
Yeah, not exactly. Well, you normally see a safety car or two, maybe in a British or in a a race around Silverstone, but nothing quite yet. As we are on to lap number 7, are the race leaders. Giant Bravery really challenging Camke. Camke has used all of his ERS, and when I say all of his ERS, just before breaking into Brooklyn's there, he was on 6%. So he's really struggling to keep his ERS in hand, as Marty picks up a 3-second time penalty down in P19. But Giant Bravery is at 70%. Obviously, he had a little bit of a scare with Camke breaking DRS, but I don't think that's going to be much of an issue, since Camke didn't have anyone to pull him along, as Connor picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. The Williams and the Ferrari battling down for what is currently last place. But Camke up at the front, he's not going to have any challenge to Giant Bravery just breezing past him. Storm was unable to stick within DRS on the last lap, so he's starting to fall back as well. And now Major Falcon, who passed Ryan B previously, Ryan B is going to be trying to follow him as Giant Bravery makes his way past Camke, and there was not even a challenge there from the McLaren driver.
No, it wasn't. Not at all as my...
Ooh, Ryan B's in.
Wow, that is early. That one is early, to be fair.
And Jordan, the Mercedes are double stacked.
That, I mean, it's easy to say, isn't it? But that seems like a bit of an error.
I would tend to agree with you on that one. Jordan comes into his pit box, waits like 2-3 seconds, 4 seconds maybe, and then the pit crew gets on with their job. So yeah, I think that was a little bit of a blunder there from the Mercedes pit crew, or from the Mercedes strategist, because you could just see visibly the gap between Jordan and Ryan B substantially increased. Just between those two cars, just in the pit lane, as Edok picks up a 3-second time penalty in the mid-pack, struggling to pass Iverberg Mike, who has been dropped pretty substantially by Alt Maverick. The gap is now 1.8 seconds, but that's an interesting call there from Ryan B. Pitting a little bit earlier, trying to get that undercut. It can be powerful, but you're not going to have DRS, so it's going to be it's going to be kind of canceled out, because the drivers that you were behind and you're trying to undercut, they're going to have DRS, and they're going to have a little bit of a pace advantage, I would have to imagine, for at least next 1 to 2 laps maybe. Cam K getting close to Giant Bravery, just trying to save up that ERS. Giant Bravery's ERS has actually plummeted since he's made the overtake, and Giant Bravery is going to be in, race leader in. Cam K going to stay out, though, interestingly.
Yeah. I have had another issue. But what I'm going to do is, I think I'm just going to ride along in the background now for this one, because I don't want to mess the lobby up by rejoining at this point.
Yeah. You can give some insight. That would be very nice. But yeah.
I'll do what I can on the stream.
Yeah. That would be very nice, I will admit. Energetics had a little bit of a spin there at the final corner with that penalty that he has picked up. But Giant Bravery and Edok, the next two drivers to come into the pit lane. The Williams driver just exiting now, just in front of TRT James, who has yet to pit in this race. Edok just coming out behind Ryan B. 2.2 seconds of the gap between the Mercedes and the Haas drivers. So making up a little bit of time possibly here as Ryan B. But he's going to have to be absolutely on it. Going back on board with the battle between Mr. Wouter, Alt Maverick, and Major Falcon. Mr. Wouter not close enough as of right now to make a move, and Alt Maverick, he's closer to the Aston Martin than the Aston Martin is to the Alpine, but obviously Mr. Wouter is going to have that DRS, so he's not going to be able to really challenge. It's going to be kind of negated, is his advantage. But Cam K, let's see if he's going to be into the pit lane. No, staying out on lap 9. Storm is going to be in. Major Falcon is going to be in as well. Mr. Wouter's forced to stay out. Alt Maverick staying out with him as well, and Iverburn Mike is going to dive into the pits with McDutchface in tow, as well as MCR. Poldypole's on the alternate strategy, as well as Alex. Let's see what Energetics and Slayer are going to do. I'm sure they would be in the pit lane considering how far back they are. Nope, both of them stay out. Let's run aboard now with Ryan B. Let's see where what are the other drivers who have now just come into the pit lane. Let's see where they are compared to the Mercedes driver. Yeah, just heading through the Vale chicane. Most of the drivers just leaving their pit box. There's a group of 5 drivers there in the pit lane, as the Williams and the Haas will make their way past. Let's see where Ryan B is going to filter out in all this. He's going to be just behind Major Falcon as we go into turn 3. It's going to be side by side. Major Falcon doesn't see the Mercedes driver, and he's off into the grass just a little bit there, able to keep it on track for the most part. But Major Falcon is not going to have to fight a defensive, or he's going to have to be super defensive on this one, because Ryan B has an amazing exit. He's going to have DRS. He's going to possibly use his ERS. Major Falcon trying to defend it for his life, but I don't think Ryan B is actually going to be going for it. Actually looks up the inside of Brooklyn's, but backs out of it. Major Falcon gives him the room, to be fair. But I think Major Falcon's just going to keep that one for the time being. But he also has a 1.8 second gap to Storm. I'm not entirely sure where that is really going to put them for the time being. But now, watching on board with Cam K, he's into the pit lane here on lap 10. Alt Maverick is going to be following him. Mr. Wouter, who's overtaken by the Ferrari driver earlier on, is actually Alt Maverick speeds into the pit lane once again, 2 weeks in a row.
That is unlucky. My PlayStation is now just completely having a fit and continually pressing eject. I'm going to try and fix this. So I'm going to head off again. Apologies for this, guys, but you're in very much capable hands in the background. I'm sorry, my man. Let me try and get this sorted once and for all.
Alright, we can't keep on trying to keep up with the action. Slayer's into the pit lane as well. Mr. Wouter following Alt Maverick. Cam K, who was the race leader before Giant Bravery, or who was the race leader once Giant Bravery made his pit stop. Let's see what it's going to be. It's a big gap between, there's going to be a pretty big gap between Giant Bravery and Cam K there. So Giant Bravery's off into the distance, so that 2 lap undercut from Giant Bravery has worked an absolute treat. But Cam K is going to have 2 lap fresher tires once he comes in. Once he gets those tires up to temperature, and I'm sure he's going to be able to try and close them down. But he's already using his ERS down to 33%, heading down towards Brooklyn's. Giant Bravery on 54, 50, 60% now, as now on this lap. TRT James on the alternate strategy yet to pit, as well as Energetics. 10 lap old soft tires. It's an interesting decision for him to stay out. But Alex and Poldypol's trying to keep the Ultra alive. I'm not sure how well it's going to be working out for them. Storm is now on the back of TRT James, who, as I mentioned just a little bit earlier, has still yet to pit in this race. But Storm is now 2.4, about 2.5 seconds behind the Haas driver. Ooh, cuts the corner there at Maggots and now picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that's going to hurt him even more. It's quite easy to pick up penalties here at Silverstone. There's it's a very high speed circuit, so you're always going to be on the limit. Storm looking around the outside of James and no competition. Yeah, for him, Ryan B. Ooh, Major Falcon moves a little bit late. Alt Maverick trying to follow these guys through, but Ryan B. around the outside of Major Falcon going through Stowe. He's a little bit wide there. He's on the curb, but I don't think he would have picked up a warning for that one. Ryan B. braking late into the Vale chicane. Major Falcon tries to keep it around the outside, but he's going to have to back out going through the penultimate corner. Alt Maverick just has to stay in behind these guys. Eduk looking for an opportunity as well. Mr. Wouter trying to follow these guys and close in a little bit, and McDutchface is going to be gaining from this one as well. Energetics finally into the pit lane and off those soft tires, so now everybody in the field is either on a set of medium tires or a set of hard tires for Connor and for Marty. All Maverick are looking around the outside of Major Falcon through turn 3. He's going to be up the inside for turn number 4. He isn't going to get the greatest of exits you wouldn't imagine, but Major Falcon is not going to have a great exit either. Through Aintree, a little bit of contact wheel to wheel between the Ferrari and the Alpine. Eduk made a little bit of a mistake going there into turn 3, but now the Ferrari driver up the inside of the Alpine. Both of them go very, very wide. Major Falcon nowhere near the apex. All Maverick nowhere near the apex. Ryan B is going to be absolutely loving this. Major Falcon squeezes the Ferrari driver out on the exit of left field there. And I think he's going to be able to keep the position for the time being. But All Maverick has 80% ERS, and they're both using, as well as Major Falcon, using ERS down towards Cobbs. All Maverick is going to have to back out of that one. Major Falcon has a little bit of a slide, goes very wide after touching the inside curb. And Ryan B is starting to run away from these guys, but I think Major Falcon is going to have DRS. So it's going to be an opportunity for All Maverick if he can keep it close through Chapel. And I think he's going to be able to do that. Has a decent exit using his ERS. Major Falcon opens up his rear wing, as well as All Maverick going down towards Cobbs, going down towards but Major Falcon's red light is blinking. He has no more ERS to deploy, and Alt Maverick trying to keep it close through Stowe, and as they closed up to Ryan B, but I don't think it's going to be able to make that overtake. They were side by side for so long, as Jordan and Ivor might go side by side. Ivor on the inside going through Stowe, Ariel Jordan on the outside as the Mercedes tries to outbrake the McLaren into the Vale chicane. McLaren's on the outside. He has enough room. Oh, as I say, he has enough room. Ivor Mike makes contact with Ariel Jordan and goes spinning off into the grass. Unfortunate there for him. He was alongside enough to warrant some space, but Ariel Jordan didn't quite give it to him. But Poldypols and Alex still up at the front as well, yet to pit in this one. Yeah. Sorry about that, but now we can get back to the battle for what is the net lead between Cam K and Giant Bravery. Cam K was able to close up that gap now in the previous lap or two. Storm trying to follow these guys in behind, but he's in a comfortable P3 as of right now. TRT James 2.2 seconds behind, yet to pit, as we've mentioned plenty of times before. Ryan B trying to hold off Major Falcon and Alt Maverick and Eduk and Mr. Wilder. He's trying to hold back all of these guys, but Eduk with that 3-second penalty and Alt Maverick with the 5-second penalty, but Major Falcon's a little bit wide through Chapel. All Maverick has had a better run. He's going to be so very close. He's within a 1/10 of a second, just going down towards Stowe. Major Falcon starting to derate as we get down towards the corner, and the Ferrari's going to be up the inside of the Alpine. I think he's going to have that move done, but there's a driver out. Subcon. It's Connor. Through Mackett and Beckett's, there's a yellow flag in Sector 2, but nothing as of yet in terms of safety car or VSC, so I think the stewards are just going to let that one go for the time being, but yeah. All Maverick able to mosey his way past Major Falcon after a lap of intense battling, and now it's going to be onto the back of Ryan B. But Ryan B now has a DRS off of TRT James, who is going to be a little bit of a roadblock for All Maverick here, because he's not going to be able to make his way past Ryan B and not going to be able to make that progress, even with those 3-lap pressure tires, which is going to be such an advantage for the Ferrari driver. But Ryan B and All Maverick championship rivals once again close out on track. TRT James goes a little bit defensive going into Brooklyn, as Ryan B is actually very late on the brakes and very wide, as well as All Maverick, who kind of follows him. Ryan B trying to get back onto the racing line into going through Luffield here. And now Alt Maverick is actually going to have a very good run. He's this close to Major Falcon on the previous lap, but Ryan B uses a little bit of ERS. He has a 15% disadvantage to Alt Maverick. Ryan B a little bit slow on the exit there of Cops, but Alt Maverick not going to be quite close enough to make a move. Ryan B's going to have DRS off of James. Alt Maverick perfect through Maggots and through Beckett, now through Chapel, trying to get that exit. He's going to be on the ERS, I would imagine, on the exit. Opens up DRS. It's going to be a Mercedes and a Ferrari battling down towards Stowe, but TRT James is going to be in the way of that. The Haas driver is going to be there as well as Ryan B. Not quite close enough to make the move, though, interestingly enough, and James is able to keep it in front for the time being. James is actually going to be into the pit lane now. Ryan B versus Maverick. Maverick looks up the inside of the Bale chicane, but not going to be going for the move there. He's going to wait one more lap, and I think that's smart considering he has a championship to think about. But Ryan B also has a championship to think about, and it's the two championship protagonists battling out here on track for P6 as of right now, battling for what would be net P4. On track. Alt Maverick with that penalty, the 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane, but I think he's gonna try and make his way past Ryan B on this lap, especially since he wants to get up in front. And it seems that he has really good race pace here at Silverstone. I don't think he's gonna be close enough to make the move down in towards Brooklands, but he's using the DRS, using the ERS. He looks up the inside, going into Brooklands. It's gonna be side by side. Alt Maverick up the inside. The Mercedes has a little bit of contact with the side of the Ferrari, and he goes spinning there into Brooklands. And now Ryan B is gonna be down the order, and Alt Maverick's gonna be up at the front of the train, but has a significant gap over Major Falcon, almost out of DRS range as the Alpine driver. He uses the ERS trying to get back within through Woodcut. Now Alt Maverick is going to be heading into Cops at the front of the train with a 4.1 second gap in front of him to Storm, but stewards are going to look at that one, I would imagine. But Major Falcon now has been given an opportunity to make his way up in this race, since Alt Maverick is now the only driver in front of him in this train, and he doesn't have a penalty.
This is it. I feel like that was a big error actually from Ryan. You know, he had that 5 seconds, Alt Maverick, and Ryan is in a title battle with him. It was an unnecessary mistake, I feel, and it's going to maroon him down in realistically 10th place at best, because we've got these guys that are going to be coming back at them, potentially pole to poles, and obviously pick up a pen and pull it. Alex, I'm just going to go with Alex.
Yep, Alex
is not far behind him. These guys could come onto the back of this. So, yeah, tough times for him, and I think he'll rue that mistake. I didn't catch exactly what happened to a degree, and to be fair, it's one for the stewards. But Cam K now all over the back of Giant Bravery, and this is the battle for what we'd assume the lead. So, big moments here for Cam K and Giant Bravery.
Yeah, this could change the tide of the race depending on what happens between the Williams and the McLaren driver. Cam K on 36% ERS was able to keep his ERS in check a little bit here, but Giant Bravery is down to 20%, so using quite a lot to stay in front of the McLaren driver, which I think is a little bit of a mistake. I think he could save, because it's going to be, well, when Cam K decides to overtake, he will be passed no matter what, you'd have to imagine, especially with how powerful DRS is. Cam K almost cutting Beckett's there, which is interesting. He's on the absolute limit, trying to stick with Giant Bravery considering how close he is. But Giant Bravery D-rate's going down towards Stowe, but Cam K is going to have to stay in behind for the time being. But I think Giant Bravery shouldn't use his ERS, if I'm going to be completely honest, as Poldy pulls us into the pit lane and Alex decides to stay out on that alternate strategy. Giant Bravery doesn't have to use his ERS. Make Cam K use his ERS and put him out in front of you, especially since Cam K is a little bit low. Giant Bravery can just sit in behind and save that ERS, but that is only on the lap number 17 out of 26, so it's still a decent way to go yet in this race. Storm still in a comfortable net P3 with Alt Maverick's 5-second time penalty. So looking on for a podium here is the Aston Martin driver. Alt Maverick in P5 after that incident with Ryan B. Major Falcon following, but not very closely. Eduk in his second race of the season has a little bit of a slide out of turn 4 there out of the loop, but it stays in P7 for the time being. Mr. Wilder just a little bit further back. Ryan B. made his way past McDutchface on the previous lap as TRT James. That's fastest lap of the race on that alternate strategy, a 1:27.454. Not bad for the Haas driver there on that lap. McDutchface following Ryan B. MCR 1.2 seconds behind them. Poldy Poles just came out of the pit lane on the alternate strategy. He's 4.7 seconds behind MCR, so he still has a long way to go in this race, especially since Ariel Jordan is going to be putting on the pressure just in behind him. Ivory Mike out of the points in P14. Energetic Slayer, Marty, James, all these guys out of the points, and I don't think they're going to be very hopeful for many or any in the coming time, unless there is a safety car that could throw things all up into the air. But Giant Bravery and Camke, the two constants at the front so far in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And Polar Poles is going to get onto the back, you feel, of this train potentially. If he can just show a bit of pace, it's going to cause some issues, as Alex also pits on this reverse strat.
Yeah, he's finally into the pit lane on what was pitting on to lap number 18. He will come out on lap number 18 on his out lap. So he only has a few laps to do on those soft tires. They can't go, the soft don't necessarily drop off. They are pretty consistent in terms of pace, so I'm sure he could have pitted a little bit earlier, but don't think he'll be thinking about that now. He's just going to be thinking about the job that he has to do to make up all those positions now that he has now given up due to that due to him pitting. Giant Bravery to keep Camke behind for the time being, but Alt Maverick coming back at Major Falcon. Major Falcon derating there into Brooklyn's a little bit wide is Alt Maverick, but Major Falcon able to keep it around the outside. I'm sure Alt Maverick got a little bit of PTSD from that move, but Major Falcon able to keep it. Ooh, and Maverick picks up a 3-second time penalty on the edge of, or on the exit of left field. That is just lazy. I mean, I've done that before in practice, but that is just lazy from Alt Maverick, not able to keep it on the track there. You want to be on the limit there on traction because it's such an important traction zone, because that leads your momentum all the way through the National Pit Straight, through Cobbs, through Maggots and Beckett's, and onto the Hangar Straight and down towards Stowe. So that corner is so very important as Camke makes his way past Giant Bravery, almost looking around the outside, but Giant Bravery able to keep it in front for the time being. The McLaren looks up the inside into the Vale Chicane. The Williams on the outside, Major Falcon and Alt Maverick. Alt Maverick unable to get the move done, and Camke has to stay in behind for the time being. Alt Maverick looks up the inside. He's going to go for it this time into the Vale Chicane. Major Falcon around the outside trying to keep him, but Alt Maverick's going to have a better run around the outside, but Major Falcon squeezes him just a little bit, gives him enough room though to keep his car on the track. But now side by side into Abbey. Let's see, the Ferrari and the Alpine are able to keep it on track together. They give each other the space, they give each other the room, and Alt Maverick's able to get that move done. But now that might have been a little bit of a mistake. Alt Maverick has 60% ERS, so he might be able to defend this, but Major Falcon's only going to be 3/10 behind going through Aintree, using his ERS, going to use the DRS, but I don't think he's actually close enough.
No, I don't blame. It's tough. Maverick's got 8 seconds. His goal really is to keep away from Ryan B. That is his goal now. It's to make sure he gets 7th realistically, unless some craziness happens. But he can try and gap Major Falcon, and maybe, if not, his EDOC picks up another pin, you just have to gap him by 2 seconds. So I can understand the aggressive nature of the move. There's Giant Bravery now, and Camke all over. He's all over the back of Camke, but he's kind of playing a bit of a. I wonder if they're playing possum here. You don't want to be in the lead at this point. They've both got low ERS. Why be in the lead? There's no value in it. Stick behind, try and save some. But yeah, what do I know? As Giant Bravery goes around the outside and gets the move done really before the corner even is in fruition.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of swapping positions between those two drivers. Major Falcon up the inside of Stowe once again. Alt Maverick around the outside trying to keep the position. He's more side by side than he was last lap, but he's able to keep that position going into the Vale Chicane. So he's going to have a better run, but all over that orange sausage curve there on the exit. So not going to have the greatest of exit, but Major Falcon didn't have the greatest of ones either, even with that little bit of a switchback line. But EDUC, we also have to mention EDUC and Mr. Water are both here. They're both in this battle as of right now, so trying to stick with these guys is going to be their main priority. And if Major Falcon and Alt Maverick get into an incident, they're going to be right there to pick up the pieces for what could be a possible P4 or as of right now. But now Major Falcon down towards Brooklands. I think he's going to have this one almost done. Alt Maverick tries it around the outside. Major Falcon hits the apex nicely and is able to get that move done. Alt Maverick tried to switch back, but Major Falcon had that one covered off. And now the run down towards Cops and through Maggots, Beckett's, Stowe, all of that. It's going to be interesting between those two. But Camke and Giant Bravery up at the front of the field. Camke on 28% ERS and Giant Bravery on 11. I think if Camke just doesn't use ERS for the rest of the race, I think he might as well just have this one won already.
Yeah, 100%. We have a spinner, or we have some yellows anyway in the back of the field. Nothing doing. It seems like everyone kind of got back going, but this is a real tough race now for people like Alex, who's now and the Polar Poles as well. You know, the reverse strat doesn't seem to have worked, and they're going to really struggle to get some points now. Rooter picks up a time pen.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him as Ryan B makes his way past McDutchface. McDutchface looking to the inside of the Veil Chicane, but not going to be quite close enough there. But Ryan B trying to get his comeback, or his energetics off under the wall at Chapel. First driver, or the first time Chapel has claimed anybody here tonight in Division 4. But we're just watching on board with this. Educk and Mr. Water both have 3-second time penalties now. So Major Falcon has it. He has the advantage over Alt Maverick, Educk, Mr. Water, and Storm if he can get within that 3-second gap. They're about 1.2 seconds off that gap right now. So if they keep battling, I know Alt Maverick looks like he has the pace to possibly to keep up with Storm. There's another yellow flag. That's Alex, I want to say, who's been off into the gravel. No damage, I don't think. Never mind, he's missing his front wing, I think.
Grim for him.
I think he just took out the 100-meter board there going into turn 3 and got a 10-second penalty for track extending. So unfortunate there for him. But Giant Bravery as well trying to lead CamK. CamK saved up a little bit of ERS, but he's using it again. I don't understand why CamK needs to use this. It's not like it's absolutely mandatory for him to make this move right now, and he doesn't even make the move, so he just completely wasted all that ERS there. So that was a little bit poor for him. But Alt Maverick, as I was just talking about, Major Falcon looking up the inside of Stowe once again. Alt Maverick is gonna just give up the position, looking towards into the next chicane. Alt Maverick can back out of this one, but Alt Maverick has the pace to catch up to Storm, so I don't understand really why Major Falcon is fighting this one.
See, I always gets another pen. See, the thing is, though, what I would say is that Major Falcon also needs to catch Storm, right? So
yeah,
he knows Maverick is quicker. Let Maverick take on the burden. You know, let him drag you along, and hopefully get within 3 seconds, and all of a sudden you're on the podium. But as Ivor picks up a pen, as CamK has made a move on Bravery, it's all kicking off. We've got a car in the wall. I think that's Jordan. It is Jordan. He's got massive damage. All of a sudden, this race is going a little bit messy and a little bit bitty from these guys. So James, really, who's had an early spin, he's found himself up in the 14th, and he's got a chance of maybe even picking up a point if one or two more of these people go off.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen in the rest of this one. But Giant Bravery now is following CamK. CamK, 22% ERS and is using down towards Stowe. I don't think he really has to, as Marty sets fastest lap of the race in 16th. He doesn't have to use the ERS. Look, he used all that ERS, but Giant Bravery going into Stowe is only going to be 3.5 tenths behind. So, or still going to be 3.5 tenths in behind. So I don't think that was entirely useful from him. Alt Maverick looking at Major Falcon and going into Stowe. And Major Falcon is derating on ERS, and Alt Maverick, I think, has the pace advantage because Alt Maverick had the gap down to Storm down to just about 3.9 seconds as they headed into Brooklands, and Major Falcon decided to throw it up the inside. And now they lost a tenth, and they're losing a little bit more time, and Major Falcon doesn't exactly have the pace to keep it going. So I think Major Falcon could have possibly thrown away a podium opportunity here in this one with some of the battles that he's been taking. But yeah, nothing you can do about it now as we're on to lap 23 and only 4 laps left in this race. So everyone's getting a little bit tired and sweaty, I'm sure, especially if you're on wheel. I know just in practice doing half a race, I was drenched in sweat from the non-stop pushing and the limit that you have to be on all the time here at Silverstone. So yeah, I'm sure these guys are starting to get a little bit tired, and I'm sure that's why we're seeing a few more mistakes. Of another yellow flag, that's Energetics, who's had a spin there through turn 3. So yeah, CamK Giant Bravery, though, still keeping it on track up at the front.
Yeah, and they're going to be the big winners in the title race as it stands. And Falcon, really. Jordan not doing great. This is actually quite pivotal. It's going to help compress the standings a bit as we have another yellow, and that is...
I believe that's... I want to say that's Energetics maybe being... I don't want to say it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
We have a slow... I think Alex has been lapped, and I think he's just letting people through as well, which I think is causing a bit of drama. As Major Falcon and Educk taking it to the streets. Ooh! That could be cycle damage.
Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't had a good view at it.
Well, look, Maverick closing in on Storm already. Yes, Falcon is 8 tenths behind that, but he's still got a shot. Weirdly, actually being where he is in this train, if he doesn't really want to drop behind Ruta ideally, but just stay there. Maverick's your friend at this point. It's Giant Bravery. I'm just looking at Maverick. Giant Bravery's holding up that battery. It's going to be hard for Kamke to get the win here. Some questionable strategy choice at the front. But it's nervous, if Giant Bravery's probably going to want to get it done last lap, and he's got to deliver on it, and that can make people clutch up. So it'll be interesting. That's got legs. I think you're watching what I was watching is Polar Poles and McDutchface.
I wasn't watching that, but I think McDutchface just made that move. I was watching Giant Bravery use his ERS going through cops. That's what I was watching. But, Poldy Poles trying to make a move on McDutchface, looking to the outside now, going into Maggots. He's on the fresher soft tires. They're only 6 laps old compared to McDutchface's 13-lap-old medium. So, yeah, he has the tire advantage as Kamke and Giant Bravery going side by side into the Vale chicane. Kamke has to cut the corner, and Giant Bravery's going to be up into P1 once again. But he used his ERS, and he's using even more of it. Kamke uses his ERS as well, as we have... Oh, Poldy Poles is out, actually. I didn't catch that. Maybe contact or something? I'm guessing, because look at where he is. That's such a weird place to retire.
It maybe someone's kind of nipped out of someone's slipstream too late. That's going to be a messy one. You don't crash there cleanly, so someone is going to be. I mean, he's going to be annoyed, but Lord knows whose fault it is.
Yeah. Alternate strategy didn't go too well for Poldy Poles there. He didn't have a penalty, so he could have been on for maybe a few points, but nothing entirely too great for him. But now, looking up at the front once again, Giant Bravery, who was at one point had 20% more ERS than Kamke, is now a slight disadvantage to the McLaren driver as they head through cops on the penultimate lap. So the next lap is going to be the final one. And Alt Maverick, we said he might have the pace, but I think he's used up all of his pace now because he's equaling Storm. So Major Falcon doesn't even have an opportunity really at getting this podium, especially with a lap and a sector to go once we head through Beckett's and Chapel here. So Major Falcon possibly throwing away a chance at a podium. Alt Maverick derating going down towards cops. Towards Stowe. Giant Bravery and Kamke getting close once again, but Kamke is not going to be close enough. He's late braking, but not quite close enough. Eduk makes his way quite easily past Alt Maverick as Jordan sets fastest lap of the race on a 27 flat. Kamke and Giant Bravery, let's just watch on board now with this first battle for first place as we are on now the final lap. Kamke through the first corner was really close going into Abbey there, but not quite able to keep that close. Through turn 2 into turn 3, it's really quite equal. Just looking at it right now, Kamke doesn't have the greatest of first sector complexes there, and Giant Bravery is able to pull out a little bit of a gap. Kamke using his ERS, Giant Bravery using his ERS.
Here's the problem. Oh, I was going to say, Energetics moves out the way. I had a feeling there that maybe he was going to give Giant Bravery DRS down the back straight, but he gets get out of the way. This is going to prove really difficult for Kamke. And he's using it in the wrong places.
Yeah, he's trying to get close through cops, which I could maybe understand, but the dirty air is going to throw him off just a little bit unless he can get a really good run. Giant Bravery is derating, so he uses a little bit of ERS there on the exit of cops, but now through Maggots and Beckett's, this is going to be absolutely crucial. Kamke turns a little bit earlier. He has to back out of it and has to return into the corner, and now has created that gap Giant Bravery has just by being a little bit slower. Kamke making a mistake as well, but now using the ERS down towards Stowe. This is going to define the race here. Kamke looking around the outside. Giant Bravery swerving all over the road. The McLaren driver tries it around the outside. He's going to try and keep it there, but Giant Bravery has the momentum on the inside line. Kamke was not unable. Oh, dive bomb! Giant Bravery turns in early to fend that off, but I think Giant Bravery is going to have this race won, and I think he's going to take his first race victory here. He took a podium in USA. He didn't race in Spain and now has won the British Grand Prix. Half a second between the two race leaders. Storm picks up third place. Alt Maverick with his 5-second penalty. Major Falcon will finish P4. Only 6/10 behind Storm, so had a pretty decent final lap there. Eduk is going to finish in P5. Mr. Wilder P6, Ryan B P7, so he will increase his lead up at the front of the championship. McDutchface P8, Alt Maverick P9. That final 3-second penalty really hurt him there when compared to Ryan B. MCR P10. Iverbrand Mike picks up points on P11. Slayer picks up a 1 point in P12. TRT James just crossing the line now P13. Marty, Ariel, Jordan, Alex, and Energetics, all drivers to finish the race. I think Alex and Energetics finished a lap down, but Poldy Pulls, Connor and Dirtim unable to finish this one, but Giant Bravery wins. It was a sloppy race, I would say, from both of the top two, but still Giant Bravery is able to walk away from it a little bit battered and bruised, but takes the race victory.
Yeah, I mean, the front three were, albeit in a different order, the front three from qualifying. So that's a pretty rare occurrence in league racing. So kudos to them for keeping it so consistent. Some dodgy performances from some of the leaders there. Maverick, maybe there's going to be some consequences from the stewards between Ryan B and Maverick too as well. So, and some further ones as well. There seem to be some tasty incidents towards the end of that race. But like you said, it was scrappy. It didn't feel like. I don't think there's going to be tons of people that are going to be massively happy with that race. From, like the chat, I feel like a lot of people are going to walk away disappointed from that and feel like they could have done more. But yeah, well done to the podium, guys.
Yeah, congratulations to Giant Bravery on taking his second podium of the season and his first race victory there for him and for the Williams team as well. His teammate Connor unable to do much in this race, but yeah, so Giant Bravery doesn't put himself in the championship conversation quite yet. Well, Maverick and Ryan B not scoring very many points here. I think Ryan B scores 7, I want to say, and Alt Maverick scores 6. No, 4, 5? 4, 4, 3, 2. No, Ryan B scores 6. No, never mind. I can't do math. It doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3. Alt Maverick scores 4.
Points.
Ryan B scores 6. There we go. Able to work it out in the end. So, yeah, Ryan B increases the championship lead to Alt Maverick by 10 points, or increases it by 2 points to 10 points. So yeah, not exactly unproductive for Ryan B, but not one of the greatest races not the greatest race that he's ever had. But yeah, we can run through the race results very, very quickly. Giant Bravery followed by Cam K Storm, Major Falcon, Educk, Mr. Water, Ryan B, McDutchface, Alt Maverick, MCR, Iron Mike, Slayer. I'll take the final points position. James, Marty, Jordan, Alex, and Energetics are all the drivers who finished all 26 laps. Well, besides Alex and Energetics, they were a lap down, but we don't mention that. Poldy Pulls, Slumcon, and Dirtim were the drivers who were unable to finish the race, and fastest lap goes to Ariel Jordan, but will not get the point as he was outside of the top 12. So, was there anyone that you could really mention for a driver of the day there?
Let's just go with the race winner, which is very rare, but I'm kind of with you. Like, you look at somebody that a lot of just maybe Educk actually.
Yeah, Educk. I was looking at Educk as well. Yeah,
and he's really come on some hard times. The biggest thing I take from this screen is just how many nations are in this league. Actually, crazy. Look, I mean, there's about 15 different nations, but no, I don't know. A lot of disappointing results there. I feel like maybe obviously not necessarily all results, but there's going to be a few people that aren't massively happy. So yeah, no, I would. I don't know, Giant Bravery or Educk, depends on. It's a bit boring to go with the race winner, so yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Educk. Yeah, he had a good race, scoring points, 10 points, not bad. Reserve driver, so. Not scoring anything for Haas, I don't think. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, he had a solid race. Obviously, that one time penalty. But can we leave the screen, please? I'd very much like to leave this screen now. Yeah, we can get the top 3 into this party very quickly. So, yeah, we need to do that because there's an interview. And D2 starts in actually 27 minutes, so we still have a little while. But yeah, I can invite Storm. Storm, what is it, 72 UK? 72 underscore UK, I think. Yes, Storm underscore 72. We get Giant Bravery. Giant Bravery, is it 027? Yeah, it's 027, alright. And then KMK. So Well, they can't hear you as of right now. Give me. All right, now go on.
A very small tip. I think I know what happened with my PlayStation. Never lean your PlayStation over an edge. It makes the eject button do crazy things, apparently. I looked it up on the internet, and it's not done it since, so fingers crossed I'll be okay for the race. So, unlucky, Ryan, if you're listening to this.
But our first driver has joined for the post-race interviews. Mark, I'm going to allow you to do the interviews since you didn't have quite as much time watching the race. So, go on, please. Go on.
No problem. Look, well done today, Giant Bravery. That was a very, very, very solid performance. How was that battle? That looked quite intense with Cam K.
Hello. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
You're very quiet.
Okay. Let me see. Let me check here.
I'm going to check very quickly to make sure his voice.
Hello.
Yes. All right. We can't hear you.
Now.
Good. Yes, that's good. That's perfect.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So what was the question? Sorry, I forgot.
It looked very intense, that battle with Cam K1.
Oh, yeah.
How was that? How was those last few laps?
Yeah, well, it was really close, all the race. So it was really intense, especially the last laps, of course. But during all the race, we were so close. I think all the time we were less than a second close. So yeah, it was really difficult in the end because the ERS was going, and the DRS is powerful on this track. So I was quite careful to be in a good position for the last lap. I was doubting if I should let him go and try to pass him the last lap or go in front and try to go. But yeah, at the end, I went first, and the things went well. So yeah, but it was really close. I enjoyed a lot. Yeah.
Fair. So you're now, by my calculations, 22 points behind Ryan B, which is only, you're within a race. Do you think you've got a chance of challenging to win the title in this division?
Yeah, I hope so. I will fight for that. Unfortunately, the last race I couldn't be here, so yeah,
Yeah.
I miss a lot of points. So, but yeah, I want to fight and see where I want to fight for the best position possible, and yeah, see.
Cool. So look, I think this is your fourth race in LOE, unless I'm mistaken. How are you enjoying it so far?
Yeah, I enjoy it a lot. That's true. That it's only my fourth race. Yeah, the grid is really competitive. So it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, I hope it continues like that.
Brilliant. No, fair. Any questions from you, Packer, at all?
No, I think you guys were. I think it was good. I think you guys covered all the topics that need to be covered. Cam K and Storm have yet to join the party, so I'll take that as they aren't going to join the party. So, yeah, we can end this stream. Thank you, Giant Bravery, for joining us in the commentary
Thank you.
booth for the interview, and congrats on your second podium of the season, and good luck for the rest of the season, especially for Singapore. Actually, I can ask you a question. What about the Singapore next week?
Yeah, it's a track I like a lot, Singapore. I find the track quite hard, but at the same time I enjoy the challenge. Um, there is so many corners. All of them, okay, some of them are mostly the same, 90 degrees corners, but nonetheless I still find it interesting. And yeah, it's a challenge track, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I think I
Fair.
have the same feelings as well, if I'm going to be completely honest. But yeah, thank you for joining us, and I think that's going to be it, unless you have anything else to say before we end this one off, Mark.
No, not at all. Not at all. Join us. Join us. You can join us later for D2 in about 20 minutes, or you can join the team that are going to be covering D5 as well. So, more racing to come, and see how we compare. And one of us isn't going to do very well. I'll tell you that. And
Well, based off the rest of my season, I'm not going to do very well either, but practice is looking decent enough. But anyways, yes, we can end the stream now. So thank you for watching, and that's been all, folks.